Do you desire to uncover a truth that might leave you somewhat disturbed? Something you have probably encountered, yet perhaps dismissed without much thought. The favors you have been asked to perform, those that appear simple enough on the surface, but leave you feeling utterly depleted? These are not merely trivial inconveniences, they are, in fact, carefully constructed traps. And no, my intention here is not to overdramatize everyday acts of kindness, nor to discourage you from extending a helping hand to others. The undeniable reality is that these seemingly innocent favors often come with hidden strings attached, undisclosed costs that you don't pay with mere monetary currency, but rather with precious fragments of your inner peace and tranquility. Do you truly grasp the underlying reason why these favors feel so overwhelmingly heavy? Ponder this for a moment. Each and every time you consent to one of these seemingly simple requests, why does it evoke a sensation as though you are surrendering far more than just your valuable time? It stems from the deeply rooted awareness that what is being solicited from you transcends a mere moment of assistance. It represents a subtle yet deliberate test of your personal boundaries, a cunning exploitation of your inherent generosity. These are not simply favors, they are meticulously calculated requests that frequently benefit one party, often the requester, far more substantially than the other, and that party is typically not you. So, why do we consistently find ourselves saying yes to these requests? Is it driven by a subconscious fear of the discomfort that accompanies saying no, or is it fueled by the hopeful expectation that our acts of kindness will be reciprocated in kind? Let us meticulously peel back the layers of these seemingly harmless requests, and unveil the genuine nature of what it truly means to safeguard your personal energy and assert your inherent worth in all your relationships. By comprehensively understanding the actual cost associated with these favors, we can make empowered decisions that unequivocally align with our deeply held principles and steadfastly preserve our overall well-being. When confronted with a request to bend the truth, even if it is artfully disguised as a harmless favor, you are faced with a decision that goes far beyond a simple choice. Agreeing to utter what someone might casually label a little white lie can appear inconsequential on the surface. However, each of these seemingly minor moments profoundly shapes our character and decisively defines our ethical boundaries. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy, imparts to us that integrity and honesty are not merely ideals to be upheld when it is convenient to do so, but rather they are absolutely essential to our daily lives, and serve as the very foundation of our moral character. Epictetus, the renowned Stoic philosopher, emphatically emphasized that our integrity is our most prized possession, and must be guarded with the utmost care, as meticulously as we safeguard our most valuable physical assets. He firmly believed that each and every time we compromise our integrity, even in seemingly insignificant ways, we chip away at the very core of our moral being, gradually diminishing our ethical strength. It's not just about the lie itself, but rather about the profound implications of what agreeing to lie reveals about our personal values, and ultimately, about ourselves. Similarly, Carl Jung's profound exploration of the human psyche highlights the inherent dangers of habitual dishonesty. According to Jung, every single time we engage in a lie, we inadvertently feed the darker aspects of our psyche, which are collectively known as the shadow self. This shadow can progressively grow stronger with each dishonest act, ultimately influencing our actions and thoughts in ways that can be drastically removed from our conscious values and our carefully cultivated self-image. Therefore, when someone asks you to cover for them with a falsehood, the most virtuous and psychologically sound response is a firm but polite refusal, perhaps articulated by saying something like, "Sorry, I'm all about keeping it real." Such a response not only steadfastly preserves your personal integrity, but also communicates with unwavering clarity that honesty is a paramount priority in your life. This straightforward declaration serves as a critical litmus test for all your relationships. The way people respond to your unwavering commitment to truth can reveal whether they genuinely respect and value you for who you are, or if they merely view you as a convenient means to an end. This approach is about far more than simply avoiding falsehood, it's about actively cultivating a life where truth is the very cornerstone of all interactions. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, argued that truth and transparency invariably lead to trust and respect in all relationships, spanning from the most personal to the most professional. By holding steadfastly to the truth, you become a beacon of reliability and integrity, encouraging others to rise to the same elevated standard. In practice, upholding these principles might indeed lead to difficult conversations, and might even strain certain relationships in the short term. However, the long-term benefits of living authentically and maintaining a clear conscience far outweigh any temporary discomforts. Your honesty not only sets you free from the burdens of deceit, but also sets a powerful standard for others around you, fostering a culture of trust and mutual respect. There exists a delicate equilibrium in relationships when it comes to money matters. It often commences innocuously, with a small loan extended to a friend in a temporary bind, a casual advance offered to a colleague for lunch, $20 here, $50 there. However, when these requests evolve into a recurring pattern, with absolutely no mention of repayment, it's easy to feel as though you're functioning more as a personal bank than as a genuine friend. This situation, while exceedingly common, can significantly strain relationships and severely test personal boundaries. Within the world of Stoicism, the primary focus is invariably on wisdom and moderation. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher, speaks extensively about the inherent danger of placing wealth above virtue. He astutely suggested that while generosity is undoubtedly a virtue, it should never compromise one's own financial stability or overall wisdom. When friends or family members continually ask for money, it's absolutely essential to apply this Stoic principle by meticulously considering not just the immediate financial cost, but also the potential cost to your long-term peace of mind. Moreover, lending money without establishing clear boundaries can create a detrimental imbalance in the relationship dynamic. Carl Jung, who profoundly explored the deeper realms of our psyche, might suggest that such dynamics can lead to a shadow being cast within the relationship. This shadow could manifest as unspoken tensions or lingering resentments that arise when money issues are mishandled or left unaddressed. When you lend money repeatedly without any form of reciprocity or even simple acknowledgement, it can lead to pervasive feelings of being used, undervalued, or profoundly disrespected. So, how do you effectively handle these recurring requests for money with grace and diplomacy? Saying something along the lines of, "I'd love to help, but I need to carefully manage my own finances," is more than just a simple refusal, it's a powerful reaffirmation of your personal boundaries and deeply held priorities. This thoughtful response isn't solely about money, it's about respecting and valuing your own financial goals and responsibilities. It sends a crystal clear message that while you are inherently supportive, your support is not unlimited or entirely unconditional. The subsequent response you receive can be incredibly telling. If the person genuinely understands and respects your clearly defined boundaries, it indicates a healthy relationship, where mutual respect forms the very cornerstone of the bond. However, if they respond with guilt-tripping tactics or undue pressure, it reveals a distinctly different dynamic, one where your value in their eyes might be more about what you can provide financially than who you are as a person. This is a critical juncture for deep reflection on the true nature of the relationship. Handling money requests with Stoic wisdom means being both firm and fair in your approach. It involves acknowledging the paramount importance of financial prudence for all parties involved. Marcus Aurelius eloquently wrote about acting in agreement with nature and reason, making choices that are both logical and morally sound. In the context of lending money, this translates to making decisions that are financially and emotionally sustainable, aligning with your inherent nature as a rational and self-respecting individual. This approach not only protects your financial well-being, but also sets the stage for healthier, more honest, and more fulfilling relationships. By clearly communicating your boundaries, you encourage others to carefully consider their requests and to genuinely respect your financial autonomy. You also proactively prevent the buildup of resentment or misunderstanding that can often accompany financial transactions among friends and family. There is an undeniable weight that accompanies being entrusted with a secret, particularly when it is of a dubious or questionable nature. It places you squarely at the crossroads of unwavering loyalty and unwavering integrity, challenging you to either support a friend without question or to steadfastly uphold your deeply held moral principles. Often, these secrets involve covering for someone's mistakes or misdeeds, with the classic plea of, "Don't tell anyone." But suddenly, you are no longer simply a confidant, you are, in essence, an accomplice in concealing something that should not be hidden from view. This situation draws directly from the profound wisdom of Stoicism, where the primary emphasis is on living in accordance with virtue and reason. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once eloquently remarked that we should not merely be concerned with what happens to us, but rather with how we choose to respond to those events. When asked to keep a secret that involves deceit or wrongdoing, your response should unequivocally align with your ethical beliefs, not simply with your personal relationships. Carl Jung also touched upon the profound complexities of secrets with his insightful exploration of the shadow self. He firmly believed that by concealing aspects of ourselves, or, in this particular case, concealing truths for others, we risk integrating these shadows into our very personalities, leading to inner conflicts and a profound dissonance between who we truly are and what we ultimately do. When someone asks you to keep a secret that feels inherently wrong, they are not only imposing upon your peace of mind, but also potentially inviting you to integrate deceit into your own personal shadow. So, how should one effectively navigate these murky and treacherous waters? First and foremost, it is vitally important to communicate your discomfort with crystal clarity and unwavering calmness. A simple yet firm declaration such as, "I'm not comfortable being part of this," not only firmly establishes your personal boundaries, but also signals to the other person that their request has unequivocally crossed a line. This thoughtful approach respects both your own deeply held values and the other person's inherent autonomy. After all, they retain the freedom to choose how to proceed with their secret, without necessarily involving you in the process. What happens next can be exceedingly telling. If they genuinely respect your decision and gracefully back down, it reaffirms that your friendship rests upon a solid foundation of mutual respect and shared understanding. However, if they react negatively or attempt to coerce you further, it reveals a self-serving nature that prioritizes their own needs above your well-being. This is a critical moment of truth, where you learn who truly values your relationship for what it is and who values you merely as a convenient means to a self-serving end. Stoicism teaches us that external events are not within our control, but our responses to those events most certainly are. In the case of being asked to keep a dubious secret, the Stoic response is to remain steadfastly true to your deeply held principles, irrespective of external pressures. This not only maintains your personal integrity, but also serves as a powerful lesson to those around you about the paramount importance of ethical behavior and the inner strength it takes to uphold it. There are inevitable moments in life when someone might look to you as their escape hatch from personal accountability. Envision this scenario: a colleague slips up on a critical project, and rather than facing the music and taking responsibility for their actions, they subtly nudge you towards the spotlight of blame. It's a situation that tempts you to act out of misplaced loyalty, or perhaps out of a subconscious fear of conflict, but it's absolutely crucial to resist this temptation. Saying yes to covering for someone else's mistake is akin to setting a cleverly disguised trap for yourself in the long run. The philosophy of Stoicism provides a strong and unwavering framework for effectively handling such challenging situations. Seneca taught the paramount importance of living a life that is congruent with one's own moral compass, irrespective of external pressures or societal expectations. When someone asks you to take the blame for something you didn't do, they are essentially asking you to compromise your personal integrity for their own benefit. Seneca would argue that true wisdom lies in recognizing the long-term consequences of such actions, both for oneself and for the community at large. The immediate reaction might be to simply avoid conflict by agreeing to their request, but consider the precedent that this sets. As Carl Jung might suggest, agreeing to take the blame when it's not rightfully yours can lead to the development of a shadow aspect within your personality, one that readily accommodates deceit or the habitual avoidance of truth. This not only significantly impacts your psychological health by fostering feelings of resentment and guilt, but also distorts your relationships with others, who may gradually begin to view you as someone who can be easily manipulated or taken advantage of. So, how should you effectively respond in such a situation? Affirm, but respectfully, "I can't take responsibility for something I didn't do," not only asserts your personal integrity with unwavering clarity, but also encourages others to own their actions and face the consequences of their choices. This isn't simply about protecting yourself from undue blame, it's about actively promoting a culture of honesty and personal responsibility. By resolutely refusing to be complicit in the blame game, you set a clear personal boundary and model a behavior that unequivocally respects truth and accountability. It's important to remember that true strength isn't found in acquiescence to wrongful blame, but rather in the unwavering courage to uphold truth, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient to do so. This aligns closely with the Stoic ideal of virtue as the only true good. Virtue encompasses courage, justice, wisdom, and moderation, all of which are called into play when you actively deny taking on blame unjustly. Each time you stand firm on such deeply held principles, you not only strengthen your own character, but also contribute to a more ethical and accountable environment. Moreover, holding others accountable is, in itself, a form of profound respect. It's a way of saying, "I believe that you have the inherent capacity to handle this situation and to learn valuable lessons from it." While it may cause temporary discomfort or even conflict, it ultimately leads to personal growth and overall improvement. This is a valuable lesson to impart in any collaborative setting, whether it be in professional environments or within personal relationships. We all have that one friend or acquaintance who approaches us with a seemingly small and innocuous request, such as, "Can you just do this quick thing for me?" But, as many of us have unfortunately learned through experience, what's initially pitched as quick and simple often spirals into something much larger and far more time-consuming than anticipated. This recurring routine can quickly transform us from a genuine friend into an unofficial volunteer, constantly on call for favors that are rarely, if ever, reciprocated. Recognizing and addressing this dynamic is not simply about asserting the value of our time, but also about respecting ourselves and the skills we possess. Stoicism teaches us about the paramount importance of self-respect and the need to understand our inherent worth. In the grand scheme of things, Epictetus would advise us to recognize what is and is not within our sphere of control. Our time and how we choose to spend it definitely falls squarely within our control. When we allow others to dictate that for us, without any regard for our own personal needs and deeply held values, we give away far more than just our time, we effectively give away our personal autonomy. So, when someone repeatedly asks for freebies or expects you to provide your services without compensation, it's absolutely essential to establish clear and unwavering boundaries. A gentle yet firm statement such as, "I'm happy to help when I can, but my work has value," serves as a crucial reminder that while you are indeed generous by nature, your generosity is not an open invitation for exploitation. It's about ensuring that there is both fairness and respect in the exchange, which are foundational elements in any healthy and sustainable relationship. Carl Jung might argue that constantly agreeing to do things for free, especially when it consistently leaves us feeling undervalued and unappreciated, can lead to a subtle resentment that festers within the unconscious mind. This can negatively affect our self-esteem and profoundly influence how we view our interactions with others, possibly making us feel less valued or truly seen in other areas of our life as well. By stating your needs and the inherent value of your contributions openly and honestly, you not only stand up for yourself with unwavering conviction, but also clarify your expectations for how you wish to be treated by others. Moreover, friends who truly value and respect you will undoubtedly understand and appreciate your firm stance. Those who react negatively or continue to expect free work, despite your clear communication and well-defined boundaries, may not truly respect your personal boundaries, which can be a revealing indicator of the true nature of your relationship. In this light, setting these boundaries is not only a form of self-respect, but also a valuable test of the mutual respect within your relationships. Stoicism doesn't teach us to turn away from helping others in need, but rather it emphasizes doing so with wisdom and discernment. Marcus Aurelius wrote about acting with a reserve clause, doing good with the understanding and readiness that outcomes may not always be within our control. Applying this principle to doing favors means that we should certainly help when we can, but we should also keep firmly in mind the inherent value of our own resources and the very real possibility that our efforts may not be reciprocated in kind. In practical terms, the next time you are asked to do a favor, carefully consider what you are committing to. Is this a one-off act of help, or is it part of a recurring pattern where your inherent kindness is being taken for granted? Let your response be guided by a clear understanding of your inherent worth and a balanced approach to generosity. Remember, every favor that you perform should not leave you feeling depleted or resentful. It should feel like a conscious choice that unequivocally aligns with your deeply held values and respects your personal limits. In any workplace or social circle, there often emerges a discernible pattern where the same individual repeatedly asks for you to cover for their mistakes or slip-ups. Initially, it might seem like a minor favor, simply helping out a colleague or a friend who is in a tight spot. However, when these requests become a regular occurrence, you might find yourself becoming less of an ally and more of a convenient safety net, continuously compensating for someone else's consistent lack of responsibility. From a Stoic perspective, Epictetus taught that we should not concern ourselves excessively with the actions of others, unless those actions directly affect our own moral well-being. In this particular scenario, consistently covering for someone else does indeed begin to weigh heavily on our own ethical balance. It's not simply about the inconvenience or the additional workload that we are taking on, it's about enabling behavior that goes directly against the Stoic virtue of self-control and personal accountability. Moreover, consistently covering for someone can lead to a form of psychological dependency, both for the one being covered and for the one providing the cover. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow can be insightful here, as it suggests that by consistently covering for others, we might inadvertently be feeding their shadow, allowing them to shirk their responsibilities without facing the necessary consequences of their actions. This not only hinders their personal growth and development, but can also lead to feelings of resentment and eventual burnout on our part. Therefore, it's essential to assertively say no, perhaps stating, "I can't cover for you this time." This simple but powerful stance is more than just setting a personal boundary, it's an act of tough love. It signals to the other person that they need to take responsibility for their actions and face the consequences, which is absolutely crucial for their personal development and growth. It also reinforces your respect for your own valuable time and energy, teaching others that while you are indeed supportive, your support is neither unconditional nor exploitative. This approach is not without its inherent challenges. Holding your ground can be uncomfortable, especially if it disrupts the status quo or if the other person reacts negatively to your refusal. However, Marcus Aurelius argued that the right action is often met with resistance, and that we must remain steadfast in our principles, despite external pressures or disapproval. In fact, setting such clear boundaries can ultimately lead to a healthier and more respectful working relationship, where responsibilities are clearly defined and managed individually. It is also important to communicate your decision in a way that is both clear and compassionate. Explaining your reasons can help the other person understand that your refusal is not a rejection, but rather a call to personal responsibility and accountability. This conversation could be an opportunity to discuss better ways to manage tasks or commitments, potentially leading to more efficient teamwork and a greater sense of personal accountability for all involved. Navigating relationships, be they personal or professional, often involves carefully gauging how much of ourselves we are genuinely willing to risk. The stakes get particularly high when someone asks you to take on a significant risk, promising to back you up and provide unwavering support, only to leave you hanging when the situation becomes dire or challenging. It's a scenario that many of us have likely faced at one point or another in our lives. Being asked to sign off on something inherently risky, to extend ourselves far beyond our comfort zone, while the other party remains safely in the background, carefully avoiding any personal risk. This situation is a clear red flag in any relationship and highlights an imbalance that urgently needs to be addressed. Stoicism, a philosophy that emphasizes virtue, wisdom, and self-control, teaches us to look inward and evaluate our decisions based on whether they unequivocally align with our ethical principles and deeply held values. Marcus Aurelius once wrote about the paramount importance of acting in accordance with one's own nature and for the common good of all. When someone urges you to take a risk that they themselves are not willing to share, they are essentially asking you to compromise your values for their own personal benefit. Such scenarios also touch on the complex psychological dynamics of trust and personal responsibility. Carl Jung often discussed the shadows of our personality, those hidden parts of ourselves that we are not fully aware of or that we consciously prefer to ignore. When we agree to take on risks alone, at the behest of others, we may be unwittingly engaging with our shadow, ignoring the inner voice that warns us of potential danger or harm. Jung might suggest that this is a critical moment to confront our shadow, to deeply understand why we are tempted to acquiesce to such a request, and to strengthen our resolve to act more consciously and with greater self-awareness. The appropriate response in these situations is to establish clear and unwavering boundaries, perhaps stating, "If we're not both in it together, then I'm out." This simple yet firm declaration sets a clear standard for mutual risk and shared responsibility. It communicates that trust and respect are inherently reciprocal, and that you expect from others the same level of commitment and willingness to take on risk that you are being asked to bear. In confronting someone with this boundary, you are not only protecting yourself from potential harm, but also fostering a more honest and equitable relationship dynamic. It serves as a powerful reminder that healthy relationships, whether in business, friendship, or romance, require balanced contributions from all parties involved. Setting such boundaries can be a profound moment of self-awareness and personal growth. It allows us to reflect on our past decisions, perhaps recognizing recurring patterns where we've allowed others to disproportionately dictate the terms of engagement. This reflection can empower us to make more balanced choices in the future, choices that unequivocally respect our personal well-being and actively seek a fairer distribution of risk among all parties involved. Insisting on shared risks in any venture is about ensuring that all parties are equally invested and that no one is disproportionately vulnerable to potential harm or loss. This approach not only protects individuals from being unduly taken advantage of, but also builds a solid foundation of mutual respect and unwavering trust, which are absolutely essential for any sustainable and healthy relationship. By holding firm to this stance, you reinforce your own sense of self-respect and encourage others to view you not just as a willing participant, but as a respected partner whose needs and concerns are taken seriously and given due consideration. In a world that often rewards the easy over the ethical, choosing honesty is not just a stance, but a powerful statement about who we are and what we stand for. Thank you sincerely for being a valued part of, where we delve deep into life's most challenging issues with unwavering integrity and unwavering courage. For more insightful perspectives on living a principled life, please watch one of the suggested videos now appearing on your screen. Your journey with us is far more than simple learning, it's about profound transformation and personal growth.